Okay, this is my new JXD 388 quadcopter. It's actually not bad for a little $32 quadcopter. I'm going to do some demonstration flights out here, hopefully with my V222 also, but the wind's starting to pick up, so I don't know if I'll get to that. But some comments on this quadcopter so far. I like it. It actually flies comparable to the V252. The difference being that it's somewhat heavier and bigger. That's good and bad in that it greatly helps to see this quadcopter. It's very easy to see when flying around. The unfortunate thing about it is, though, you're going to get, because of the increased weight, you get about 2 minutes less flight time. So I only get about 4.5 minutes of flight time with a 260 milliampere battery compared to the about 6.5 minutes that I get with my V252. The transmitter, some thoughts about that. It doesn't have the LCD screen that you see on the WLToys transmitters. It's missing that. It's missing all the special function buttons that go with it. It just has trim buttons, which is good. It does have a speed button for changing modes from about, I guess it's about 20%, 60%, and 100% as comparable to the WLToys model. And of course it has to have that flip button for those special acrobatic flips that are automatically done by these cheap quadcopters. Okay, I'm going to bind the quadcopter, make sure it's bound before I do what I want to do. Now, as with all these 6-axis quadcopters, especially these micro quadcopters, I like to fly them by just throwing them in the air and taking off. Okay, let's get some flights, increasing speed to 60%. Let's bring it in close too. There it is. The wind's blowing here in the dry lake bed. But this little quadcopter really can perform, and I'm serious. I'm going to put it on 100% here and send it out to show you that it moves comparable to the V252. Very fast turns, very high yaw rates. Well, I hope this is coming in, but a little quadcopter's hard to see. I just got a haircut there. And it's breezy, but that's another point. This flies great in the wind, even on a breezy day. Now, one thing that the V252 can do is accelerate, and accelerate vertically, but this has a problem doing that. Well, I take that back. There it goes. I thought it would have a problem because of the weight, but it does not have a problem accelerating vertically. Little JXD can really move. And that's only $32 on the Banggood. I don't know how they make it for that price, but I'm not going to complain. I like this quadcopter. Again, it flies comparable to my little Speedy, my little V252 from WLToys. Okay, that battery's probably getting low now. Now I'm going to do another comparison flight using my V252 and compare the two. One of the other thoughts, notice it has a on-off switch on the back. I don't use that switch because that's going to break with time. Just use the, plug it in and unplug it to turn it on and off. That's a feature I don't think was really advisable for them to put on there. Other thoughts, 20% mode. This thing's real stable, as you can see here, even in the wind. Got a little breeze behind my back, and it's able to fight it a little bit. But it's great for indoor flying. This is a nice indoor flyer. Very stable indoors. Okay, I'm going to go fly my 252 now and compare the two. Now this quadcopter is my little Speedy. It's the WLToys V252. I want to compare the flight performance between the two, and to do so, the thing about the JXD 388, you can use this transmitter. It uses the V2X2 protocol. So I'm going to fly my V252 with my JXD 388 transmitter. And again, I'm going to launch it by tossing it. The wind is picking up here. Got to get my little quadcopter back here. Going to, now I'm going to be at 100% mode just as I was for the now see what I mean? This little quadcopter is not as, it's zippy. It certainly is zippy, but it's not as stable as the JXD 388. It's because it's really lightweight. Being here, I'm going to go to 60%. Being lightweight, this thing accelerates very rapidly in all directions, whichever direction you point the you're pushing the throttle or the aileron in an elevator. And it's breezy too. Again, at 100% now. Well, this actually yaws, I guess, more fast or more quickly than the 388. Because of that, this particular model is great for intermediates and above, but beginners, I don't know. This thing just is too fast in accelerations. This can get really away from you quickly. One thing I like about this, though, is it can accelerate vertically. .388 or 252. Great little quadcopter, but not for beginners in my opinion. Oh, and I was mentioning on some of the RC group forums and on YouTube forums about holding the propellers on these. These high G turns tend to pull propellers off the quadcopters, these mini micro quads, but I seem to find a fix for it. I put a little bit of plumber's putty, just a tiny bit of plumber's putty inside the holes on the propellers, and it seems to hold the propellers on very well. If anybody knows of any other ways, you know, I've tried all kinds of adhesives to hold those props on, but this seems to be working the best. Okay, that's my 252. Again, the comparison between the two is this one, I can get about 6 minutes of flight out of this one. This one accelerates much more quickly than the 388, but the 388's performance is not as good, not as rapid movement as the V252, but it's still a lot of fun to fly. So I recommend it. For 32 bucks, you can't go wrong. This one is getting hard to find. It's out of production, I guess, and is disappearing from the stock. So if you can grab one of these, grab one, because you'll eventually want one. But the 388 is a nice little substitute. Okay, signing off.